Basement Politics Unfiltered with Freddy Vazquez. Tonight, Yonkers, the home of shooting movies and guns. I don't know. Good evening. Freddy Vazquez. I'm trying to see if I'm on live. I'll wait a little bit just to see if I can get some folks. Going on a little late today, 10 o'clock. They want to talk about the violence in Yonkers recently, as well as the recent city council meeting that took place tonight. Good evening, folks. It's Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Thank you for joining me or watching the show. By the way, the show I did before last, I got a lot of text messages about it. A lot of people liked it. They thought it was a good show. And surprisingly, I got some text messages from people that I didn't expect to get messages from. So shout out to those people. Thank you. Fortunately, today I had to reschedule my interview with Jamal Bowman. Congressman Bowman was supposed to be on the show today at 6 o'clock, but unfortunately, he had to head out to Washington from what his staff told us. So we did reschedule for tomorrow at 3:30. So I will have Congressman Bowman coming on, and I will also be looking to do an interview with the city council president. Madam President Lakeisha Collins Bellamy will be has invited me to come join her over there at City Hall at the chambers in the office so we can do an interview there. So I look forward to that. So as soon as I have the details for that, I will, let everyone know. So yeah, that'd be interesting. But tonight I want to talk a little bit about the violence that we've recently had in Yonkers. It's been kind of, it wasn't all just, people just trying to kill somebody else. It's different scenarios, but it's been gun violence, right? And it's been rash shootings, and it's been within a week. The first shooting happened, I believe it was on Thursday of last week, where a 33-year-old man was shot. I want to share that article really quick here. He was shot. He's in critical condition. I thought he was or had been killed, but apparently he did not. He survived. But he is in critical condition. So I wanted to share that story. City police are looking for a gunman who shot a man in the chest on Thursday night. Yonkers police said a 33-year-old man is in critical condition after he was shot in front of a home on Fort Field Avenue at 6:37 p.m. At 6:37 p.m. That's fairly early. I mean, I know it gets darker now because it's wintertime, but 6:37. Most people are still coming home around that time. The shooter is believed to have fled the area in a white vehicle. Initially, they were saying it was a white Maserati or a Maserati type of car. And that's all they have really on it. Police urge anyone with information on the shooting to call the detectives at 914-377-7724. And the calls are anonymous. But that's all they had. I was under the impression that the person died. I'm glad he didn't. That's good news. And then we had actually a suicide, which wasn't talked about much. And I think that's important. There was a shooting at 74 Warburton Avenue. That's over there by the Department of Social Services and Phillips Manor, kind of in between the two. And apparently, from what I'm hearing and from sources, it was, it was a relationship. It was a domestic issue. This from what I'm hearing. I don't know if this is 100% fact, but apparently the the individual, the man and the woman that lived in the apartment, were together on and off. They had a child together, and the woman and the man were having an argument, and she told him that she was not going to let him see the child again, and threatened to never let him see the child or something to that effect. And she kicked him out the apartment, and apparently the gentleman took out a gun and committed suicide right there in front of the woman. So that's what I'm hearing from my sources. Again, that's not from police. This is from my sources. So I don't know if that's all the way 1,000% correct, but these are sources, people who are close to the individuals involved. So I did want to just mention that and put that out there. So, the first one was an attempted murder. Second shooting was a suicide. And then the third shooting, which happened on 52 Main Street, was another suicide attempt. However, this was suicide by police. The gentleman wanted the cops to shoot him, apparently, and they did, although he didn't die. So it didn't work out. I wonder how that, how he's feeling now, not having been able to be successful in that. I'm glad he didn't survive, and hopefully he'll get some help. Don't know why, but there's a lot. I mean, obviously with the pandemic, drug addiction is high. Mental health issue. I believe this gentleman may have been suffering from mental health issue. I'm sorry, that's the wrong article there. The gentleman may have been suffering from mental health issues. So I don't know all the details, but it was apparently a suicide attempt by cops. So anyone not familiar with that, that's when somebody calls the police, and then when they come, they may brandish a weapon, a knife or another gun, and threaten to shoot the police officers, so that way the cops can shoot that person so they can die, because I guess they don't want to shoot themselves. I don't know if they maybe don't, I don't know too much of that, but obviously mental health played a role in that. I'm not sure what was going on with the individual, but here in the article on Yahoo, it says, and this guy was young. A man who was shot and police officer was injured during a confrontation in an apartment Monday afternoon. Yonkers police say 5 city police officers responded to an apartment at 52 Main Street at 12:29 p.m. to report a man waving a gun on the 3rd floor. Yonkers Police Commissioner John Mueller said during the press briefing, when officers arrived, gunshots were exchanged. Oh, so he shot at police. I don't know if he was actually trying to hit the officers, or maybe he just shot in their direction. However, an officer was injured, but it wasn't due to a bullet wound or the gunshot. It was due to maybe debris. So maybe, bullet hit a wall, something hit the officer in the head. He was rushed to Jacoby Hospital. Officers fired. He said, to the best of our knowledge, we don't know that the suspect fired. Oh, so they don't know if the suspect fired or not. A 24-year-old, the man was 24-year-old man was shot once in the calf. Well, kudos to the police officers for not killing the man, shooting him in the calf. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but hey, it worked out, and hopefully the gentleman can get some help. As the encounter unfolded in the hallway in the building, Mueller said, he shot in the calf in the hallway. The 911 call that was made about the man waving a gun was made from the cell phone belonging to the man. So again, he wanted to, have the police come so they can, shoot him. He wanted to die that day, and he, that was his plan of action. So, he said, but not immediately clear if the man was shot, if the man who was shot was the person speaking during the night. Oh, okay, well, they're not immediately clear, but I'm sure that's most likely what it was. One officer was being treated in an intensive care unit for a concussion and 4 broken vertebrae. Oh, wow, Mueller said. And I believe that was from a jump, actually. I think he jumped out the way maybe to avoid being hit by the gunfire. I'm not sure what was going on there. Police body camera footage indicates that the officer was more than 20 years in the police force, jumped over the railing and landed about 10 feet down. Wow, before he was injured. I don't know why he jumped, he said. We can only speculate, but to have an officer throw himself over a banister, one would think that he felt like he was in grave danger. And maybe, you see the bunch of police officers there, if you can see it, maybe he felt like he was going to be shot, he was scared and he jumped out the way. Notice the 2 state police officers there, and they're not, they're kind of just pulling back, hanging back. We're just going to hang back here. We'll let the Yonkers police officers do their thing, But yeah, so So early initial reports stated that the officer was shot, but in fact he was injured due to a jump. So he will survive. That's great news always. But there's a lot of this violent stuff. I mean, this is happening a lot here in the city of Yonkers. And you know what are we doing? I mean, what's the plan of action? I haven't heard much about it from other elected officials. I know John Rubo was at the conference there, the briefing at the police detectives headquarters there on South Broadway. County legislator James Nolan also attended. He was there, at the press conference. But what is the plan of action? I mean, and again, these are kind of, different, incidents. They're not really kind of related. It's not like just all gang stuff. However, it is gun violence and how are individuals attaining these guns, right? And how do we keep guns out of the hands of individuals that intend on killing someone, but also intend on killing themselves, right? Committing suicide, as we've seen the increase in suicide rate. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that and mention that a little bit and share that information because I'm learning myself that it was a suicide by cop attempt, 24 years old. Man, what do you think could be going on in a 24-year-old mind that they want to kill themselves? 24 is very young, very, very young. But we've seen this happening in across the country. Young people, committing suicide, and it's getting, like I said last episode, is really rough out there. And I've been seeing a lot of young people homeless, home, and even not homeless because and they're smoking K2. And this is something that actually today I was at City Hall, and I was speaking with some individuals, and I'm looking to really work with the city. I really am looking to work with the city on youth programs. Man, seriously, I'm serious, so serious about that. So I was at City Hall. I was speaking with someone who I think could help me make this happen. And that's my biggest thing. I said, I'm not looking to be the next Joe Rogan. I'm really not. I'd rather be the next person that helps a lot of kids, youth people, stay out of trouble and, hopefully be successful. So whoever does that, that's what I want to do. That's really my passion. So, but yeah, a lot of the kids are young and they're homeless. But however, I did see today some younger kids looked like to be high school kids from Saunders smoking that K2 stuff. And it's the case too stuff because it stinks. That stuff smells really, really bad. And I just thought to myself, how a guy that was helping me, he was installing a security camera for me. And and I just, I don't understand what's going on here and where are they getting this stuff from because that stuff is really bad for you. And I know some individuals that have really abused it and it's really changed their lives, and for the worse, obviously, really, really bad. And it looks like marijuana. For those who don't know what K2 is, it's a synthetic marijuana. It looks like marijuana. It smells really bad. I guess it's really you just really bad. And and so it's not real marijuana. I don't know what it's made with, but that stuff is very addicting. It's extremely addicting, that stuff, but it's also cheap. So I think it's like crack, like in the back in the day when they had cocaine and then they came out with crack that was cheaper and more, addictive. And this is what this stuff is. It's like the new crack, and a lot of the homeless population, that's what they're constantly smoking there in Getty Square, the K2 stuff. And it smells really bad because I go get my hair cut over there and, so they're around the barber shop and it's just bad. And I'm sad to see that. So we really need to do something here to really, I mean, you know, um, do something for this situation that we see just getting worse and worse. And I just always feel like we talk about the same thing, right? We talk about the developments housing developments, but we have these problems that exist in our city that are not really being touched on, and it's pertaining a lot to the youth. So I'm hoping that I can continue the conversation I was having with the individual, and I can have the next step, move to the next step, and meet some more individuals and make this happen. Because my goal would be to bring some kind of program here, really big program supported by the city, where we can try to net as many of the youth that are out in the street, and give them something positive to do, but really be impactful and see the results, right? We want to show the results, after a year, 2 years of being in the program. Look what they're doing now, and just go out there and reach kids. And even, my wife and I were talking about a program called Fill the Gap, where, single moms who, who have particularly sons that are struggling maybe with these boys, that need a man there, for whatever reason, another may not have that individual available. We don't care. That's none of the business. We just want to know that, if they need help, if they need somebody, that we can have strong men who are willing to take the call and say, hey, for example, your kid is outside hanging with the wrong crowd, maybe smoking weed, and I can't get them to come inside, come out there and say, hey, listen, man, you gotta, I respect mom. This is not what you can't be doing. Because I noticed, like, even in my daycare, back when we were first doing the remote learning last year, the boys, really like listen when I kind of put some bass in my voice, as opposed to some of the, the women staff. So, something like that. But a lot of programs, especially geared toward career and education. So I really want to do that because, things are getting really bad out there. And today I saw these high school kids. They weren't homeless. They weren't homeless kids. These were kids that went to Saunders and they were smoking the K2. And that's bad because, they get addicted to it, where they're going to end up. And I already see a lot of homeless people here in the city. So I want to see more of the elected officials talking about this. Because again, and I don't mean to like be negative again, but I do mention this to people. I feels like, all 2021 was simply, about the developments and Lionsgate, and killing the housing ordinance, and any other thing that was good. It was just kind of, killed. But everything was about the developers, Lionsgate and how great that is. And even still, we're talking about how great the new expansion is going to be. $500 million, 8 acres. But what does that mean, for these issues that we are having here in the city, in District 1, in District 2, and in District 3? Recently at the council meeting just tonight, they were talking about the Ludlow project that's going to be happening over there, and great, and that's great, I guess. But again, where's some talk about the violence, the gun violence, and doing stuff for the youth and the young people. We need to really focus on that. And so, and I wanted to also mention really quick regarding young people and stuff, because I did watch a video with Nader Sage. I did speak about Nader Sage, and he was a Yonkers Voice interview. And Ruvros was asking him a question from Yonkers Voice, and it was regarding, school and the budget and what's, why don't we see any money, and, he's talking about how when Empire came here and they had an agreement that they were going to be giving the schools $19.6 million a year. But, over time, $19.6 million isn't the same. So that's why we don't really see the impact, because he's talking about how if we don't get money from the state, that we can really be cutting back on a lot of our services, schools, fire services, police services. So, it's very important that we, particularly for the kids, that's what I'm all about, education, and that we don't forget about them. And you see now we have MGM coming in. First it was Empire, now there's MGM. And really, are we getting that money? And where's it going to? Why are we not seeing more programs in the schools, or programs for kids, or drug programs, mental health issues? That's super huge. That's super huge. Right? That's super huge. And that's what I was hoping to speak with Congressman Jamal Bowman, because he's very big on that stuff. And he's, working on securing, or he's secured some of the money, but there's some stuff going on there. But he's looking to bring a lot of funding to the city of Yonkers and Mount Vernon as well, and the Bronx. But we're talking about Yonkers here, right? And this money is going to be for community organizations that are, in the ground, in the trenches, I should say, on the ground. You know what I mean? Boots on the ground there, to, put programs up like mental health issue resources for that, or rehabilitation, drug rehabilitation, career programs for the youth or young adults who, for whatever reason, maybe dropped out of high school, right? Or even young adults who are homeless, and need somewhere to go, because what they do is they go to whatever shelter at night, and then they come out and then they hang out all day in front of, Dunkin' Donuts there in Getty Square, or by C.H. Martin, or maybe a little bit around the corner by where they opened up this thing you could walk through. And, so that during that time, they could be doing something, right? They could say, hey, listen, since you're going to just be standing here anyway, we can come over here and we're going to help you help yourself, essentially, So that's something that, we really need. And they talk about, these developments and Lionsgate coming in here. And and this is what they say, it's always so great. Again, but how? Because if we don't have these resources that are much needed, right? Then how is it so great? How is it so great? And it's just another, kind of BS just to string people along until everything gets done, and then we realize none of it was for us. None of it was for us. Is that what's going to happen? Is that what's going to happen? So, I want to talk about that because it's so important. It's so important to me. And with the recent shootings, particularly with the suicide and the attempted suicide by cop on 52 Main Street. So there was a suicide on Warburton, 74 Warburton. Again, a gentleman in a dispute. It was a domestic dispute with his, the mother of his child. Apparently, he was living with her, but she had kicked him out and threatened to never let him see the child again. And apparently, he shot himself in front of her, right? And hopefully the kid didn't see that, because I'm sure that would be extremely traumatizing. And then we recently had a 24-year-old. The guy was 24 on 52 Main Street that called the police. Well, they don't know if it was him for sure or not. Most likely it was him, and called the police because he wanted them to shoot him so he could die. And he was 24 years old. What's going on here? What's going on? So, something has to be done. We need to address this. And I want to hear more chatter about it from the elected officials, because, we don't, who's supposed to address this? Who? Whose job is it? Whose responsibility is it? I know, the council, they all about, legislation, but whose job is it? Who's supposed to say, hey, we have this huge problem of young people, in violence, young people in drugs, young people in mental health in general, drug addiction in general, violence in general. What are we going to do about it? 3 shootings in 1 week. What are we going to do about it? Huh? So you don't hear any of that stuff. And that's why I wanted to talk about that really quick and mention that. Like, hello, 3 shootings, 1 week. Cop gets injured, breaks a bunch of vertebrae. What's going on here? Another guy, 33-year-old in critical condition. And they don't even know who shot that guy. He was just coming home with the groceries. Imagine that. And in a neighborhood that normally you don't see stuff happen like that. So you can't even walk. You got to get bulletproof vests. I'm actually in the market for one. Bulletproof vest, so I can make it to my, home from my car to my door without getting shot and killed. That's what's going on here. But by the way, great news. Lionsgate is doing a $500 million expansion, right? So hopefully they'll bring in this money, because the great news is the revenue it's supposed to generate. The reason why they were giving tax incentives and tax breaks for the first phase was for the revenue it's supposed to generate. Empire Casino, now it's going to be MGM. Nader Sage is all for gambling. He wants to see more gambling, online gambling. He says, why not? According to some research that he's, that he's read, that a lot of people that go to gamble in Connecticut or other states that have, legal gambling are New Yorkers. So why not bring it here? I guess. I don't know. I'm a spiritual person. I am. You see, I'm wearing my rosary beads. And I don't think we should be heading in the Sodom and Gomorrah direction. Just saying. I'm just saying we could find ways to generate revenue without getting people addicted to gambling, especially now when people need money more than ever. People are losing their jobs. Prices of everything is going high. If you do have a job, your wages are not keeping up with the cost of goods and services, right? So you got to find additional ways to supplement that income. So what do? You go gamble. You pray to the gambling gods, which is not the God. That's a whole nother God, and hope that you win. And I see people at the freaking bodegas and stuff with this lotto stuff. I don't play the lotto. It's not for me. And, but I see people there, doing the daily things. Give me 35, 54 this, 55 that, 55 that. I'm just trying to buy a apple juice. Can I just buy the apple juice, please? You're not going to win. That's what I say behind it. You're not going to win. Jesus, you're blocking me, holding me up. You're not even going to win. I just can't stand it sometimes. But yeah, so people are going to go into becoming, addicted to gambling now. First is K2, now gambling. What are we trying to do here in Yonkers? And it's supposed to generate revenue. Yeah, well, we still are not seeing any of that revenue that have been, that was supposed to be generated by any of this stuff that we've been bringing here to Yonkers. So, what makes you think that we will see money from Lionsgate or MGM? And why should we, get involved in online gambling and all that stuff? Do we really want to do that to our people here in Yonkers? I mean, I just don't think that, bringing in vices is the best way to generate revenue. I mean, that's just my opinion, right? We can be more, like we can tax the developers. We can actually not give them tax breaks. Maybe that's how we'll generate some revenue. So yeah. So, but I don't hear much from the city council meeting. However, I do hear them talking about developers again. Today's meeting, they spoke about a property located at 86 Main Street. A property that is owned by none other than AMS. Well, whatever they are looking to vote on, they threw it onto the real estate committee. And who chairs the real estate committee for $500? Anyone? Someone? Anyone? Oh no! Actually, look right there. I'm actually looking to apply to the serve on a board. Let's see if they'll accept me. I'm actually filling out an application. I'm serious. I was curious. I saw that there. You can actually go on the Yonkers website, the city website, and apply to serve on a board there. So I want to show you. Okay, let's sit here. All right, there. So yeah, so real estate committee chairperson John Rubo, and who I saw today, by the way. I saw John Rubo. He just said hello. We shook hands. He is the minority whip. He's whipped, and you have 5 members: Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, the city council president; majority leader Tasha Diaz; minority leader Mike Breen; and first district representative Shanae Williams. Real estate committee. Now the labor committee. I thought this was interesting. Chairperson John Rubo again, and all of the council members. So he can do something about that labor stuff there, John. Help these guys get some work, man. Come on, that's messed up. You know what I mean? Let them get some work on those developments. But anyway, so yeah, so this was going to be thrown on. Whatever they voted on, and I didn't have to rush on here. Is being thrown onto the real estate committee that's chaired by John Rubo. The point I'm trying to make is that the developers are his landlord. So should he recuse himself from that vote? 86 Main Street. I mean, is that ethical? Right. So these are things that we should just watch. We got to be on top of that because he's been having issues with them. He helped them get Chicken Island. That's his landlord. Right. Is there quid quo pro? I mean, we seen the city council president, and I believe he still might be going through it. I haven't really updated myself on that, but I believe he still might be going through it. And, here we go again. So, I mean, I'm just saying we should watch it all across the board. All across the board, but hey, let him vote on it for his landlord. And again, they'll be doing hot cocoa distribution, gloves and stuff at Chicken Island. I'll say the City Island. Chicken Island, for those interested in attending there. And majority leader, as well as county legislator Alvarado, they will be giving out test kits. Go to their page. I'm not sure the details, but if you're looking for free test kits, hopefully they'll show up. Make sure you guys show up. Don't leave people on the cold. Or did they do that already? I'm not sure. They might have done it already, actually. But if check their page out if you're looking for test kits. Again, more free stuff. But what are we doing about the violence, the gun violence, the suicides, the shootings, the murders, the robberies? Because they're robbing stores like crazy, by the way. Retail theft here in the city of Yonkers is up to where stores are now hiring off-duty police officers to stand guard at the door. Yes, particularly Rite Aid over there on South Broadway, who keep getting hit by the same person or same group of people but it's continually happening. So they had to actually bring in their top guy from, who oversees all the loss prevention from all across the country to come in and see what's going on there. And he says he's never seen it so bad anywhere in his career of 20-some years. Really? I'm like, really? Is that bad over there on South Broadway? What's going on over there? Although the security is kind of light. I've been in there once or twice, and you can easily run in there and run, out with something. But retail theft is up all across the country. I don't know if you've seen the videos lately I have of people running into department stores and running out with bags and clothes. That's what people want to steal. Because when you're desperate, you steal Gucci bags, right? And you steal, Fendi shirts. I mean, it's ridiculous. Right. So, yeah, but that's up. So it's been happening a lot here in the city of Yonkers. So we have to provide stuff for people. Otherwise, we're only going to see crime increasing. We're going to see more violence, and we're going to see more deterioration of our city as opposed to an improvement of our city. Because while we're building developments, or not we, but they're building developments, city's still going downhill. I mean, it seems. So what are we happy about? What are we celebrating? And by the way, Nader Sage did mention that we may have to be raising taxes. We may have to be raising taxes. And he says that he understands that people may not like that, but he doesn't believe that they should be taxing those that invest in this, because they're the investors. And if they get taxed too much, they don't want to come and invest. So I don't know. But I just wanted to bring that up in case, you're thinking about voting the guy. Yonkers residents are getting shafted by the mayor. Yeah, well, they're getting shafted, that's for sure. They're definitely getting shafted. It's everything, again, is about the developers. And again, the city council meeting talked about developers, talked about funding and bonds, but nothing about, violence and proposing legislation. Shanae Williams, Councilwoman Williams, right? I believe this happened in your district, the suicide on 74 Warburton. District 6, I think that was Moranti. The fact that it's coming into your district now, you should be very concerned, Mr. Moranti, Councilman Moranti, Councilmember Moranti, because that means that things are getting worse, right? If it's coming into areas not likely to see things like that happen, right? So maybe we should start thinking about this. And again, I believe District 1 again in 52 Main Street over there, 24-year-old, attempted cop suicide or attempted suicide by cop, but not a word spoken from any of these council members. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. I feel like I'm more involved in the city than they are. They're like involved in all that little meeting stuff that we don't know about, but what is actually happening, unless it's developers, right? So, we have to see more of, social programming, quality of life issues need to be addressed. And it's not just by developing. It's about addressing those that live within the community, because they are the ones that are going to be here when the developments are done and living in the developments, living life, going about their day. So we have to impact the people within the community, not just focus on building developments, right? That's all we seem to be doing. We have to come up with some stuff now. It's about that time. So I hope that my conversation that I had today moves forward. I really do. I really hope that it moves forward, because I have some amazing ideas, and I want to help the kids out here, man, the young people, 16 to 25 age group. That's like my thing, So, hopefully that's what we see at least, we can get some stuff going at least. So I'm really pushing that, because I like I said, it can't be just all about developments. And I get what the idea is. You bring in the development, it brings in revenue, and you change but you can't just build violence away, right? You can't just develop buildings and the violence is going to go, right? I mean, eventually when you price people out and you bring a whole bunch of new people in that are, paying these expensive rents, and it becomes an affluent area now, then yeah. But so you're saying we're going to make it better by getting rid of the people? Is that the plan? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Anyway, so that's my thing today. I didn't want to be on too long. I just wanted to bring that up because I think it's important. It's very important that we focus on, this violence and the quality of life. Quality of life, because it's getting worse. I see just it getting worse. I don't see anything being addressed. I don't hear anyone speaking about the K2 issue we have, the homelessness problems we have, mental health. They mention it here, there, yeah, yeah. But what is actually being done? What's tangible thing has been done? Like what? I see a post or something. It's always like a post. It's always like a post. It's just very lame. It's very lame, and it needs to be stepped up. So, mental health, drug addiction, the young people. You hear me, council? That's what I want to hear more about. Okay, that's what I want to hear more about. What are the plans? What are you doing to address this stuff? Hmm? Bringing in developments. Bringing in developments and not investing in our schools and making our city safe by adding more cops will make our city better. But the mayor and the council do zero. Hmm. Hmm. Bringing in developments and not investing in our schools and making our city safe by adding cops will make our city better. Yeah, well, we need to definitely invest in our kids. We need to definitely invest in the school system. Absolutely, 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 absolutely. Um, Nader Sage talked about it a little bit in the interview there with Yonkers Voice. Again, rumors that I have been hearing was that might be the next superintendent. I don't know. I think we have to start fresh though on that tip. I just all fresh, new ideas, man. People that are really passionate. Passionate. I got to see the passion. Those that do things like social work, education, those type of social services and giving yourself to others and advocacy that do it well are those that are truly passionate. Like you see the passion, when they talk about it, and the things that they do, you be like, wow, man, they're really passionate. But certain people, they just talk about it. It's a job for them. It's a $274,000 a year job. You know what I mean? So that's what it's about. Did you notice none of the women of color were present at the press conference? Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but that's a very good point. It's, at the very least, the person that represents that district, who is a woman of color, but she should have been there at the very least. That's her district. But that's what I've been saying all along from day one on Basement Politics. They don't come out. Where are they? You should be out in the community. You have to be out in the community, and see what's going on. How are you going to legislate effectively if you're not there knowing what's going on, right? And knowing what the people need, right? Where are you legislating from? In the office, up in City Hall, and that's it. But you got to know what's going on, unless you're just doing what you're told, and it doesn't really matter if you go out there because I'm just doing what I'm told. Here I go, boom, boom, boom. So how can you be effective if you're not in there, if you don't know what's going on, if you're not like touching the people, touching the streets, feeling it, smelling it, you know what I mean? So that's what I want to see more. And it's sad that we don't see more people at the parents conference. It should have all should have been there, especially the one that represented that district. So and again, a lot of this gun violence and a lot of the drug addiction, unfortunately, is affecting primarily, at least in the downtown area, primarily Black and Latinos, Black and Hispanics. And it's very unfortunate. Very, very, very unfortunate. So, you know, now we have, 4 women of color in the council. We have, it's like the whole Obama thing, hopefully we'd see some change, right? So I'm talking with some people. Hopefully we'll do it. Freddy Vazquez is on it. I'm not just here to be Joe Rogan on this podcast. I'm actually here to do something for the community. That's really my passion. That's really what I'm pushing for. And if I got to be exposing stuff and doing all that just to get people to really move on this, then that's what I'll do, because that's really my goal. And I don't care about anything else. I don't really care so much about the bochinche, the gossip, and all that stuff. I don't. I really care about these kids. I care about these kids. I care about them because I was one of them. So that's what I'm here for. I'll bring you more as I get it. Hopefully tomorrow I'll make that happen with Congressman Bowman. I'm looking forward to that. And that's a great interview because that's what we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about mental health and drug addiction. So, programmed for the communities and, how he plans to really impact, the communities that are being, affected by poverty, and those that live within those communities. So I'm looking forward to having that conversation because again, that's my passion, my interest. So so please join me tomorrow at 3:30. Hopefully we don't reschedule. rescheduled twice now, but hopefully I will get the congressman on the show tomorrow. But you understand, he's very busy, the congressman, right? So anyway, and then hopefully I'll be going to City Hall to do an interview with the city council president. I'm waiting to get the details of that worked out. So hopefully I'll be bringing that soon. And these are some of the questions I'll be asking. What are you guys, doing in terms of, improving the quality of life, especially in the areas that have really been impacted by violence, addressing the violence, giving something for young people to do. So they're not just, idle hand or idle time. It says devil's playground. So they have to be productive. They have to have something that's constantly keeping them busy, an outlet. That's also fun and engaging. You can give an organization money, but if they're not doing it right, the kids are not going, not really doing nothing. It's got to be done right, man. So, hopefully we'll see some of that. So, and we'll see some of this violence start to go a little, go down. But anyway, so that's my show today. I just want to really talk about that, put that in people's heads. We got to talk about this, the violence. I didn't hear much about it except for when they did happen, but I didn't hear anyone talking about it other than that. No council people. Again, I got to give, I guess, credit to, John Rubo. He was at the briefing at the press conference. So was county legislator, newly elected county legislator, James Nolan. He's always supporting police, though. I definitely, and anything like that. So, one thing about, legislator, I should say, Nolan, is that he's serious about it. Like, he's me, and I like that attitude. I really like that he really wants to get things done. He's there. I want to be there. I want to be involved. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Get involved. You know what I'm saying? So I look forward to bringing him back on the show, hopefully, and talking some more about now that he's been in his position, his new position for a while. So, he's a Republican legislator, James Nolan, who recently defeated the Democrat Ruth Walters. So, that's what I want to see. So again, I'll be on top of it. I'll bring you more information as I have it in terms of the, violence, the shootings that happened recently, as well as those interviews that'll be coming up tomorrow. Again, 3:30, Congressman Bowman, and then City Council President Lakeisha Collins Bellamy is coming up. I'm hoping to get the police commissioner also on the show, John Mueller. I haven't reached out to him, so I don't know. It's not like he said no or he hasn't responded. I haven't reached out yet, but I definitely think it's important to have him on the show and talk to him about what's going on, and what they're doing about it. Right? He's the top cop, right? Top cop, top cop, top pop. All right, so let's get it cracking over here, right? So I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics. I'm gonna go, go to bed. I'm tired. See my wife. I don't get to see her much. Anyway, enjoy your day, folks. Enjoy your evening. And I will be on maybe tomorrow. Maybe. Oh, yes, tomorrow, 3:30 for sure. Join me, please, please, please. Thank you. Have a good night. I'm exhausted. Basic Politics with Freddy Vazquez Unfiltered. Please join me tomorrow, 3:30. Basic Politics with Freddy Vazquez, the interview edition, where I'll be joined by Congressman Jamal Bowman. We'll be speaking a lot about mental health and drug addiction, as well as his efforts to improve impoverished communities. So join me, 3:30. And if you haven't shared the podcast, share the podcast. Watch it.
Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddy Vazquez.